Before every session, we always try and warm up before we hit the water. So we normally spend a few minutes on the ergo before we go over to the mats and start stretching. We normally build up from the back. Arms only, go. Body swing, go. Doesn't have to be a long warm up, just enough to get the body moving. So it makes it a bit more easier to stretch, to become a bit more supple. Quarter slide, go. Half slide, go. And from this point we'll go straight into full slide. Next one, go. So we're not thinking about working too hard here, we're just thinking about just warming up. Stand nice and loose. The hard work comes when we hit the water.
This is our normal training warm-up routine. Come forwards. We're going to start by tapping at the front, just to make sure we're relaxed to the arms and shoulders. Ready, go. Just focusing on being loose at the elbows, keeping our bodies still. We're then going to move to the first few inches of the stroke, just to practice getting gripped up onto the water. 2, 1, go. We're working right out to the limits here, so this is quite a tricky technical exercise to do. Focusing on keeping all of the movement with the hips, pushing the toes, and combining this with the tapping exercise we did previously to this. We're then going to lengthen out to the first half of the slide, just to elongate the press on the boat. Again, keeping the bodies nicely set up. 2, 1, go. As the boat begins to pick up, it's important to stay with the speed with the thumbs around the front, hands moving at the catch. Equally important to make sure and keep the control on the recovery and let the boat run in between each stroke. We're now going to lengthen this out to legs going flat. 2, 1, go. Focusing here on the same points as previously, keeping the push low in the boat, pushing the seat, holding the body in a strong position. Really making sure that the legs are moving on their own without the bodies moving at all. We're now going to bring our bodies in. Next stroke. Go. It's really important on this one, now the bodies are in, to make sure you're timing the body movement to the leg drive. Using the legs all the way first, and then bring the body in at the end. Because we haven't got the control with our hands that we'd have if we were rowing with a full stroke, the finishes can be quite messy. It's important to keep pushing on the boat so they're as clean as possible. We're now going to go to full slide with arms, full stroke, to set the whole stroke together. Square blades. Ready? Go. Now going to change to feathered blades. Next stroke. Go. Easy that. And drop. That's the first half of the warm-up. Let's start off with using half of our arms in the backstop position. Ready, go. This is just to emphasise how still the body has to be at the finish, and also how much shape we need with the hands around the backstop. We're now going to move out to using the whole arm. 2, 1, go. It's really important to keep the press on the toes, keeping connected to the boat to make sure it's as stable as possible. We're now going to bring the bodies in to make sure here we really rock over from the hips and get the body swing not from the back, from the vertebrae, but from the pelvis. 2, 1, go. Now going to move out to quarter slide, where you start to think about timing the leg drive again to the body swing. Next stroke. Go. It's really important here we leave the arms nice and long and keep focusing on the sequence of body movements, making sure the legs work first, then the body helps the legs drive. We're now going to move out to half slide. Next stroke. Go. Here we're beginning to focus a little bit more on a normal stroke cycle, keeping the hands hooking in around the front, around the catch, as we worked on in the first half of the warm-up, and also adding to it the shape we developed with this exercise building off the backstop in the second half of our warm-up. Now we're going to bring the whole lot together, go to full slide square blades. Next stroke, go. This is where we put all of the things we've worked on the last 2,000 metres into practice together, thinking about the front, the catch, the hook up with the hands and the press with the feet, keeping the drive together, and at the backstop finish, think about the shape with the hands and the handles and how we rock off from the hips and the pelvis.
Right, the protocol that you saw from the warm-up we just did is a routine we use in every session we go out in the water, no matter what the session will be and what the session will entail. Now, if we were going to do a UT2 session or work session, we'd do that followed by at least a 3 or 4K warm-up. So the warm-up itself would take 5 kilometers before we went into a piece. But coming into racing, obviously you have to change your emphasis because you're going to be at full pelt. You're going to have starts and bursts involved. We'd always have 3 bursts over 15 strokes, 1 being under pace, 1 being on pace, and 1 being over pace. And that will be followed by 4 starts, 1 of 1 stroke, 1 of 3, 1 of 5, and 1 of 15. And then we're ready.
Race pace. Ready, go. Okay, to pace. In 3 strokes. 3, 2, 1, go. Down. Go. Drop. Yeah, that's good attention. Go. Attention. Go. Now. Down.
Just some technical points to make a note of. On the drive phase, the right hand leads in with the left hand slightly over the right. The left hand leads out. On the finish, the hands are knocked down and swing away, and the body rocks over, placing the body weight firmly onto the foot stretcher. This allows you to control the slide forward and let the boat run under you. At the catch, the shins are vertical and the body angle is at 1 o'clock. On the finish, the legs are locked out and the body angle is at 11 o'clock. The thumbs brush the chest at the 3rd rib and the hands separate by around 15 seconds.
One of the most important things to make sure you get right on race days is to make sure you stay calm and stay focused on the goals you want to achieve, rather than starting to panic about what the other crews might happen. might try and do. Certainly when we race, we make sure we focus entirely on our boat and focus on making sure our boat goes from A to B as fast as possible, rather than trying to sort of try and mentally have a go at the other crews or anything like that.
In a lightweight, you have to have good time management because there's a lot of processes you have to go through before you have the opportunity to race. You have to obviously have your sweat down, you have to weigh in 2 hours before, then you have to rehydrate, refuel, and there's a certain protocol that each of us has when we kind of weighed in. I tend to drink quite a lot, Zach tends to eat quite a lot, so everybody has to kind of have their own way of doing things. And then obviously the time management of when we have our pre-race talk, listening to music so we stay relaxed, and then obviously the 20 minutes before we boat is probably the most nerve-wracking time of anyone's life who's competing at the Olympic Games, because you're kind of in the land of unknown. And then when you boat, obviously you give yourself enough time to get to the start and do your pre-race warm-up, because obviously you want to arrive at the start line in the best shape you possibly can and as confident as you can as possible. We'd have a set routine that we'd do, which would be 3 bursts of 15 strokes, 1 under pace, 1 on pace and 1 over pace. And then we'd have 4 starts that we would do, a 1 stroke, a 3 stroke, an 8 stroke and a 15 stroke. Now normally with finals you have enough time to do your last start off the blocks. So if I was going to advise anybody, I'd leave that last one till you get on the blocks, so you can do it as you're going to when you race. And then you attach 5 minutes before, and then you sit there, have a little chat with each other, just a few more words, and then the call over, 2-minute warning, red light, green light, let's go. I did feel the pressure quite a lot, obviously because of my experience in Athens of not performing well enough and not getting the best or having my ultimate performance. It was even more important to me to do that in the final. So the pressure and the tension and the nerves was pretty extreme. Until I got on the water. Then once I got on the water in my own element, or we're in our own element, and the confidence that we have in each other kind of got us up to the start in good nick, started to relax. And just knowing that this 6 minutes, 10 seconds would be what we're judged on for the next 4 years or our lifetime. No matter how well we're done in the previous results, wouldn't matter if we didn't perform on the day. So that was a lot of the pressure was to do with that as well, performing on the big occasion, on the big day. We did that brilliantly, and that's probably when I crossed the line, I was not really knowing where I was. I was just completely exhausted from every emotional, physical and mental state. So, to actually go to that extreme, was what I was intending to do. So, I was very pleased with the way we did it. I think the relaxed mode that Zach can go into is really reassuring. Nothing phases him. He doesn't really get nervous about things. But obviously being his first games, he probably didn't have the understanding of what it is like to wait 4 years to have the opportunity again. Now he's experienced the highs of how amazing it can be. I just hope that we can keep on this run and keep the excitement of winning going, because to be on the other side of not performing well or having a terrible result is not a stage I'd like anybody or wish upon anybody to go through ever again, especially myself. So, having that relaxed mode sitting behind me was very reassuring, and knowing that we could go out and do the job as a unit. So we had the best of both worlds, someone who was quite nervous, someone who was relaxed, and I think that's a perfect combination.